Obviously, when you think about poverty alleviation and vulnerabilities of people at the heart, if people don't have access to economic opportunity, how can they advance? And
I think the biggest barrier is actually mindsets, period. What people think. You know, no matter what you think, you're right. If you think we can't, you're right. If you think you can, you're right. And I think that's where it all starts from. It's been interesting, and I can speak about this a bit more practically from the work that I do and with what's happening back in the county of Kisumu. So then what do you do? I mean, how do we progress? What then should one do next? Well, first and foremost is that, especially when we're talking about women and youth, a lot of our women and a lot of our youth have been accustomed to being led and being told that this is what you should do and this is how you should do it, as opposed to the other way around of being involved in what they want to do and how they want to do it and what they should do. So a lot of the things that, some of the programs that, and I will speak about them a bit later on in the next 2 minutes or so, is working with some particular cohorts of groups. One of the groups that we've worked with and that we started working with was people who had only been till class 8. So those of you who are not from Kenya, one president back that retired, our president Kibaki, when he came into power, the first thing that he did was that he made primary school education free. That is, when I say primary school education, that means from class 1 all the way to class 8. And so we had a whole lot of people who had never been to school finally got an opportunity to going into school. But sadly, when they got and reached standard 8, because then now secondary school education or post-primary education was paid for education, a lot of them fell out of the radar. And then we must also remember that within our system of education here, it's a system of elimination. Our exams are set so that people, only a certain number of people can pass because we don't have enough spaces for them to go forward. So you find that across the country, we have a whole lot of people, possibly from the ages of even about 23 and above, who may have not gone on to secondary school education, not because they were not academically astute or bright, but because they fell out of the system. The system was designed that way. So what we've creatively done in Kisumu County is that we picked women and we picked young people, and the criteria was that if you had been past class 8 and you had a secondary school education, you were ineligible. You could not enter into our program. And we had a program called We Speak Code, where we taught people how to write code. And the program only lasted for 1 week, 7 days. Now, what we found out that the biggest thing about the program was not even the code skills that we were actually teaching them, but it was more of the soft skills, more of letting them know that they are people, more of letting them discover who they were, and giving them the faith and the confidence that despite and over the fact that they never made it beyond class 8, they're now able to compete and do the same level of an academic program as somebody who's in university. Why was that important? It was important so that in the mindset, the whole idea was for them to learn that there is really nothing that is impossible for you. Now, the great thing is that we managed to do 700 people, which has been done to date. But within the next month, that is starting from March, there's another program that we're going to do with another 5,000 people. This is going to be a bit different. Again, it's on digital literacy skills. And why on digital literacy? And let me define exactly what digital literacy is. This is not teaching people how to do Microsoft Word or to do PowerPoint. No. This is how can you use that device that you have, which is your phone and your basic phone, and how do you use that to socioeconomically empower yourself or to improve what you're already doing, whether it's as an informal business or what you are doing right now with yourselves. So I think for us, one of the things that we're very clear about is making use of what we have within the context of the so-called problems and the challenges around the places of work, and futuristically looking and thinking forward, we're very clear that data being what it is today and how big it is, we want to ensure that because the rest of Africa looks like the very same class 8 pupils that I've just spoken about, people who never made it before then, if we can get a cohort of people within the county to be able to be, whether it's gainfully employed, whether it's through either entrepreneurship or by any other means, then this can be the role model that can be rolled out for the rest of Africa. You know, as a people, and I speak for Kenyans, when it comes to technology, that is something which we're not afraid of it. It's not something which was scared of engaging with. I always say this, that there is nobody here who may have a mother or grandmother who doesn't know how to use M-Pesa. If that thing concerns money, you learn how to use it. Now, that is the initiative that we've used in terms of what's the forward for the people within the digital training. We've used the M-Pesa model in explaining to them that, you know, this is what M-Pesa does for your lives, and as you get this training, this is how it can also change your life the way M-Pesa is changing your life. So let me give you a very classic example. Going forward within the training that's going to be coming up, you know, in March and going forward, we want to be able to ensure that, for example, how does the lady who sells the mamamboga, for those who are not Kenyan, means the woman who sells vegetables in her home or in her village, how therefore can she use her basic phone to ensure that she can now become more more productive in how it is that she engages in terms of selling her vegetables, probably in getting new markets right from her phone with the clients that she's currently serving. So those are the kind of things that we're trying to do with them. And then